The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 16. Fish Don't Be Afraid. Jingwang reached his hands towards the little carp once again. Liu continued to avoid him. He was very scared. This fear was completely different from the horror of not being able to complete missions and turning into fish bones and fish ashes. He saw Jingwang kill the female assassin with his very eyes and got scared by the carnage. Actually, he knew very well in his heart that Jingwang killed the female assassin in self-defense. Even if this female assassin wasn't killed by Jingwang, she still wouldn't be able to live after committing the crime of attempting to assassinate a prince. However, Liu came from the peaceful modern time period and has never seen such a bloody scene before. This killing came too sudden, he wasn't mentally prepared at all. To him, this was really too shocking and too upsetting. When Jingwang faced him and interacted with him, the other was more or less calm and composed. Sometimes, he can even be considered slightly gentle. Although Liu always called him as this tyrant or that tyrant, he never truly understood the meaning behind the word tyrant like he did now. This was someone who could instantly decide a person's life and death, and take away a life without even furrowing his brow. The thought process of someone at the top of the food chain in ancient times was completely different from the education that Liu had received growing up. Jingwang, who suddenly unveiled all of his ferociousness and violent tendencies, really seemed too unfamiliar to Liu. Liu was scared of this Jingwang. Especially when he thought that after he completed the tasks and changed into a human, would Jingwang also kill him with a sword? He definitely would. What's the difference between Liu and the female assassin to Jingwang? They were both insignificant ants that intruded in Jingwang's territory without his permission. Just by recalling the death of the female assassin was enough to make Liu shake uncontrollably all over. Jingwang saw the little carp tremble non-stop and changed his action to trying to touch the fish's head. Liu knew he was a fish raised by Jingwang. That he shouldn't avoid Jingwang's touch. But no matter how he tried to convince himself internally, his instinct continued to fear. The smell of blood on Jingwang's body was also unbearable and made it even harder for Liu to forget about what happened. After several tries, Jingwang understood that this fish was avoiding him. Just what's going on with this fish? Jingwang couldn't figure it out at the moment. However, the fish couldn't leave the water for too long. Jingwang could see that the little carp's fins looked somewhat dry already. Turning his head, Jingwang gave Wang Shi a glance, then looked at the little carp. The extremely perceptive Wang Gonggong immediately said, "Don't worry, Your Highness. You can leave the little thing to this old servant." Wang Shi walked over quickly to the bed. Liu also let out a sigh of relief. He didn't evade Wang Shi and allowed Wang Shi to pick him up lightly and quickly move him back into the crystal fish tank. Entering the water, the little carp felt a lot more comfortable. He turned his head to glance at Jingwang. Jingwang's ice-cold eyes were also looking at him. The little carp was so scared, he immediately dove into the fake mountain. By this time, Jingwang realized that the carp had allowed Wang Shi to touch it but wouldn't allow himself. The light in his eyes inevitably dimmed a little. This wasn't the first time this fish avoided him. Before it was either biting him or bumping into him. He knew his fish was somewhat special and acted rather human-like. So, what's going on this time? Jingwang felt some unexplainable sense of irritation and started to think about what he did differently from Wang Shi. Soon, he figured it out. Jingwang looked down and his gaze fell on his sword. He had just dealt with an assassin. Could it be that the fish was afraid of the smell of blood on him? Jingwang actually didn't have any blood on him. Still, he put away his sword and went to the washroom to wash up. He deliberately changed into a clean white robe and ordered the manservants to burn his dirty clothes. After doing all of this, Jingwang went to touch the little carp again, but Li Yu continued to keep away. Li Yu saw the tyrant willingly change clothes for him and felt more or less touched. He also thought he was being too ridiculous. However, a person's fear towards something couldn't be removed so quickly. Even though the tyrant's displeasure was very apparent, Li Yu still couldn't help it. Pressing his lips tightly together, Jingwang paced in front of the crystal fish tank. Finally, he stopped, reached out his long arm and pulled out the fish that was just placed in there not long ago. Li Yu thought Jingwang completely lost all patience with him and started to flail out of terror. Jingwang gave the fish a cool sweeping look and continued to put the fish into a flower-shaped teacup that he picked up. Was he going to get rid of him? For a moment, Li Yu despaired hopelessly. Yet Jingwang did an unimaginable thing next. He placed the fish next to his pillow. Li Yu. The messy bed and bloodstains on the floor had already been cleaned up. There was no longer any trace of blood at all. But to Li Yu, not seeing didn't mean everything didn't happen. He still remembered how Jingwang's killing intent appeared instantly in the blink of an eye and how decisive he was as he stabbed his sword through the assassin's chest. What Li Yu was even more afraid of was that one day, Jingwang would do the same to him. Jingwang looked at him for a while and then reached out a finger to touch Li Yu's head. Li Yu lowered his head in fear, shaking and trembling. Jingwang lightly tapped him on the head, then laid down next to the teacup Li Yu was in. Li Yu. Li Yu was shocked. Was Jingwang planning to place him next to his side while he slept? Oh right, wasn't this, sharing a bed? Li Yu, who unexpectedly discovered that he was sharing a bed with the tyrant. Things had already reached this point, yet the mission could still be accomplished. Li Yu's mind was in a mess. He definitely wanted to complete the mission, yet at the same time, he was very afraid of Jingwang. The two emotions battled continuously inside of him. Ultimately, the desire to complete the task diminished some of Li Yu's fear. Li Yu reached out his fish tail. The tip of his tail carefully and cautiously probed the edge of the jade pillow. Sharing the bed was only half of the task. The other half was sharing the pillow. According to his experience with the previous tasks, as long as he touched the jade pillow, the mission would be considered accomplished. This time it was the real Jingwang next to him. When his tail swept across the jade pillow, the system clearly notified him that the sharing a bed step was completed. Li Yu didn't feel a bit of happiness from finishing the task. He was right by Jingwang's side. Raising his head, he just happened to cross gazes with Jingwang's eyes, which seemed to be able to see through everything. The little carp's breathing halted. Tail trembling and pulling back instantly, he buried his fish face into the water at once. He was discovered. Would the tyrant kill him? He remembered the blood that covered the female assassin before she died and felt so ill at ease that he wanted to bite someone. In a daze, he opened his mouth and suddenly bit down, on Jingwang's finger. He made a mistake again. Li Yu practically had tears down his face. How was he supposed to know that Jingwang reached out a hand again? Still biting Jingwang's finger, Li Yu used his moist wet eyes to look at Jingwang. Jingwang looked unblinkingly at him for a while and surprisingly allowed him to bite. Li Yu spat out the finger. Sob, 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 not like this. He wanted to get close to this tyrant who pampered him again. Jingwang saw him loosen his mouth, and didn't even blame him. He only petted Li Yu on the head and pushed the jade pillow towards Li Yu's side some more, then closed his eyes and went to sleep. Li Yu. What was Jingwang trying to do? Li Yu was also tired. He wanted to sleep but didn't dare. He also didn't dare to enter the system while lying so close to Jingwang. The teacup was too small. He was practically trapped on the bed, hard-pressed and under pressure. Before this night, the teacup wouldn't have been enough to trap him. He would definitely dare to hop and skip around. At that time, he was so ignorant and hadn't realized that he was scratching a tiger's head. Li Yu laid on his stomach obediently. He felt that Jingwang's breathing was gradually smoothing out. He waited for an hour long until he no longer sensed any movement from Jingwang. He should be sleeping deeply. Finally, Li Yu decided to enter the system to examine the task. Yet at that same time, Jingwang suddenly flipped over, facing him directly. Li Yu instantly flashed backwards, terrified that Jingwang would squish him accidentally into a fish pancake. Luckily, Jingwang's sleeping posture was extremely good. He continued to sleep on one side of the jade pillow properly. Li Yu saw Jingwang was really sleeping and gathered his courage to scoot over. Jingwang's enlarged, handsome face was almost within reach. His thick eyelashes covered his ice-cold eyes right now, making him seem harmless. The little carp's wildly beating heart wasn't that flustered anymore. He felt that the sleeping Jingwang wasn't particularly scary. But this was to be expected. Who would look like a demon while they were asleep? Wasn't the person who abruptly turned hostile and killed someone also Jingwang? Li Yu suddenly paused. That's right. It was all Jingwang. The Jingwang who mercilessly killed the assassin and his kind, gentle Jingwang, were both this man before his eyes. He always liked to say that humans had many facets. This was also Jingwang's many facets. Although Li Yu never became acquainted with Jingwang's ruthless side, Jingwang's ruthlessness wouldn't have disappeared just because was never subjected to it. Jingwang's warmth towards him, as well as his merciless feelings towards others, both existed. It didn't matter if Li Yu was scared or ignorant, Jingwang was still Jingwang. He never changed. Li Yu shouldn't doubt Jingwang's kindness towards himself just because the other had killed the female assassin. Honestly speaking, Li Yu offended Jingwang countless times before. If Jingwang wanted him dead, he would have killed him already. No. Li Yu unexpectedly had a realization, like a sudden beam of light breaking through the darkness. He felt much more relaxed all over. Turning his head back to look at Jingwang's peacefully sleeping face on the other side of the jade pillow, Li Yu already considered this problem from a completely different perspective. He thought timidly. No wonder Jingwang nudged the pillow over before he slept. Did he think that Li Yu wanted the jade pillow, so he pushed it towards him? Extremely likely. Didn't Jingwang also place teacups all over the floor for his amusement? Didn't he change clothes and wash away the evidence of his ruthlessness for Li Yu's sake? Even when Li Yu randomly bit him in panic, Jingwang didn't get angry. Jingwang really treated this fish very well. Li Yu felt like he really shouldn't have doubted him and became scared of him out of shock. Why don't he just reconcile with Jingwang tomorrow? After receiving too much shock, and then thinking until his brain started smoking, Li Yu picked a good position in the teacup that faced close to Jingwang and gave a yawn before quickly entering the dream world. Mission or whatever, it can wait until he wakes up. The next morning when he got up, Jingwang immediately discovered the little carp leaning against him closely. Half of the teacup was knocked over, spilling water on a large portion of his inner clothes. Jingwang moved his hand close. The half-asleep fish came over to rub his fingers again. Jingwang was secretly elated with joy. There's no way he would know that this fish's attitude towards him fell from heaven to the bottom of a mountain ravine and then pulled up from the ravine again. He only thought that forcibly placing the fish closer to him seemed to have been effective. An assassin entered Jingtai Palace. The emperor flew into rage. After making sure repeatedly that Jingwang was very well and did not even lose a strand of hair, the emperor ordered the imperial guards to investigate this matter thoroughly. No matter what, they had to give Jingwang a good explanation. Jingwang almost got assassinated. The emperor also felt very guilty. Originally Jingwang lived outside of the imperial palace. The reason he entered the imperial palace to stay here temporarily was all because of an edict that the emperor had made for the sake of the imperial consort's birthday. Yet what resulted was Jingwang encountering trouble again and again. Other than giving more gifts, the emperor also ordered Jingwang to head back to the prince's estate to get some good rest. Finally, he could leave the imperial palace. After receiving the order, Jingwang wasn't reluctant to leave at all. He immediately had Wang Shi start packing. Reasonably speaking, the Jing estate and Jingtai Palace were both Jingwang's residences. He had servants on both sides and he entered and exited the imperial palace countless times. There wasn't really anything to bring. This time, however, there was the addition of a rather imposing-looking crystal fish tank. Half of the people in the imperial palace came over to watch the bustling scene. They heard that the ill-tempered Jingwang started to take care of a fish, that even the fish tank was a gift by the emperor, that this fish was even presented before the emperor, and that this fish was more favored than the imperial consort's master cat. Just what kind of precious fish was Jingwang raising? The crowd looked. 8 people were carrying a crystal fish tank that was filled with precious gems. Inside it, a dirty little gray carp was floating around and blowing bubbles as if it was dreaming. Everyone in the imperial palace became dumbstruck. End chapter. The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 17. Fish wants to rebel. When Li Yu woke up from his sleep, he was already in the Jing estate. He was completely unaware of the huge discussion people had about him in the imperial palace. However, even if he knew, he wouldn't care. He was very self-aware of his identity as a fish right now. In short, all he needed to do was blow his bubbles and let those bored people gossip all they liked. Because he lived in the fish tank, whether the fish tank was in the imperial palace or in the Jing estate, it really didn't make a difference to him. What comforted him was that Wang Gonggong very enthusiastically moved him into Jingwang's bedroom. He still lived together with Jingwang. His one-sided fear towards Jingwang came quickly and went away just as quick. Currently, he acted cute even more shamelessly than before. Towards Jingwang, he also gained some more sincerity and trust. He transmigrated into a novel and has been cautiously and conscientiously acting like a pet fish. Opening his eyes every day, he had to worry about doing the mission. The original plot was basically unrelated to the life of a fish. Staying by Jingwang's side, he could eat well and sleep well. He didn't really concern himself with the story plot. He was only a fish after all, what can he do? However, since Jingwang encountered the attempted assassination, it ultimately dragged the original story plot back into Li Yu's thoughts. Ever since the second prince, Mu Tianzhao, learned that Jingwang left the imperial palace, he sent his loyal servant over with a letter. On behalf of the second prince, the loyal servant very sincerely asked Jingwang about his well-being and expressed that in 3 days, the second prince would specifically hold a dinner banquet at his estate for Jingwang and would be honored by Jingwang's presence. Wang Shi handed over the letter to Jingwang with a cold face. Jingwang scoffed coldly, not even opening the letter before putting it to the side. Through the fish tank, Li Yu stared at that letter, deep in thought. Although the second prince had the fate of a cannon fodder, currently he was still the main candidate for the crown prince. This invitation was probably because he got hit in the face last time in Ganking Palace and wanted to make up for it now. Jingwang's people didn't really respect the second prince. Although Mu Tianzhao was the oldest prince of all of the emperor's sons, he was often very pretentious. In front of the emperor, he pretended to love his little brothers dearly. In front of the other princes, he still pretended to be a good elder brother, but in reality, this good elder brother was the one who caused plenty of trouble for several of the princes. Li Yu had the gold finger of knowing the plot of the novel, so he pretty much understood what the second prince was thinking. Out of all of the emperor's sons, the person that Mu Tianzhao feared the most was the third prince, who was of similar age as him and who competed with him in everything. However, the person that he didn't like the most was Jingwang. Although Mu Tianzhao was the eldest, the royal family didn't really follow seniority by age. The son of the main wife was always first in rank. Jingwang was born from Empress Xiaohui. In terms of status, he was more honorable than Mu Tianzhao. If Jingwang wasn't a mute, the emperor definitely wouldn't have considered giving the second prince the position of crown prince. Because of this, Mu Tianzhao always thought of Jingwang as a thorn in his side. Yet in front of the emperor, there was no way he would express that. He knew that the emperor hoped that the future crown prince would be virtuous and upright. No matter how much he disliked Jingwang, he had to maintain a cordial relationship with him. Last time, because of concubine Xu, the emperor had become dissatisfied with him. Mu Tianzhao realized that as long as his position as the crown prince was not confirmed, he shouldn't get complacent. Taking advantage of the assassination attempt, he used it as an excuse to show concern for Jingwang. He wanted to make up for the previous offense to show to the emperor that he was admitting his wrong and being repentant. The second prince had everything well planned. Unfortunately, Jingwang didn't give him face at all and didn't actually agree to show up to his dinner banquet. The second prince refused to give up. He ran to the emperor and knelt and begged the emperor's assistance in asking Jingwang. The emperor wished for Jingwang and the future crown prince to have a peaceful coexistence. Since the second prince was willing to express goodwill, the emperor endorsed this from the bottom of his heart. In order to make Jingwang comply and give the second prince a way out of an embarrassing situation, the emperor simply became the middleman. He sent an imperial edict for all the princes to attend a banquet and that Jingwang had to be the host of this banquet. Now it was only expected for the second prince and Jingwang to reconcile at the banquet. The second prince accomplished his goal through the emperor. When Jingwang received the imperial edict, his face completely turned black. The emperor knew that Jingwang's personality was cold and aloof. Don't even talk about receiving other princes. Normally if the Jing estate had a little too many guests, he would become hostile. Therefore, the emperor specifically sent head steward Luo over to explain that for this banquet, the emperor will send over additional servants as well as cooks, and that Jingwang wouldn't need to do anything extra. He only needed to show his face as the host, that's all. The emperor went through all of this trouble for the sake of the already lacking brotherly relationship between his sons. Jingwang watched this series of arrangements, sitting alone in his room for a while but ultimately didn't raise any objections. Everything that happened in the Jing estate, Wang Shi knew. Therefore, Li Yu pretty much knew as well. Jingwang had just rejected the second prince's invitation, then suddenly, the emperor ordered Jingwang to hold a banquet in his estate. Even if he thought using his tail, he would be able to realize it. This was because the second prince was being ignored by Jingwang that he used the emperor to make this kind of cheap maneuver. Li Yu was speechless. The banquet was set up but it didn't really have anything to do with a fish like him. The second prince wouldn't get what he wanted in any case. It's all just a setup for Jingwang's future. Speaking of a bestowed banquet, Li Yu recalled a banquet that had occurred in the Jing estate around the beginning of the original novel. It was at this banquet that Jingwang got the chance to encounter the other male protagonist of the book. The pampered concubine that was in this novel's title, The Tyrant and His Pampered Concubine. Borrowing the sappy corny words of the novel, this was how the two people's lives became intertwined together. Although Li Yu was a transmigrated fish. After all this time, other than issuing him eccentric tasks, the shitty system has never got him involved with the story plot of the original novel. The scope of activity of a pet fish, as well as the people and things he could encounter, were all very limited. Even if he wanted to do something else, it wouldn't be easy. According to the shitty system's words, his existence was to change the tyrant's personality. If he could really do this, the story plot really wouldn't be important anymore. Therefore, Li Yu didn't pay too much attention to the story plot. However, because of the second prince's sudden action, Li Yu suddenly had a strange thought in mind. Don't tell him that the banquet scene in the novel was the same as this one being instigated by the second prince. In accordance to Jingwang's temperament, he definitely wouldn't plan any banquets himself. The novel never mentioned the reason why there was a banquet set up in the Jing estate. In other words, there was no contradiction and the situation more or less matched up. Li Yu felt all of the scales on his body rising. Was Jingwang about to encounter his destined lover, the pampered concubine? This, was inevitable, right? After all, in the world inside the novel, there's a protagonist Gong and a protagonist Xiao, destined to meet with each other. No matter how complicated the process was, they would always end up together. The content of this novel was about the story of Jingwang and his pampered concubine. Didn't Liu know about this already? He was only a pet fish, that's all. There's no need for him to think too much about it. Liu shook his head and did his best to be unconcerned. He went to play with the pearls inside the fish tank. However, perhaps it was because he played with them too much before that now he found that they couldn't rouse his interest. The emperor's edict was sent out like pouring a cup of water. The young 7th prince and 8th prince were still considered as babies. They still lived in the imperial palace. When they heard that the Jing estate was holding a banquet, they practically wished they could leave the palace immediately so they could come over and play. The other 2 older princes were much more composed. The 3rd prince and the 6th prince both expressed that it was rare for the brothers to gather together, so they would both prepare plenty of gifts. The 3rd prince, Mu Tianming, even offered to bring some servants skilled with dancing to the Jing estate, to make things more fun and entertaining. The emperor was happy to see his sons being so friendly and respectful towards each other, so he agreed to the suggestion on behalf of Jingwang. Although Jingwang didn't need to worry about the banquet at all, Wang Shi watched over everything carefully on behalf of his master. Liu listened to Wang Gonggong's endless chattering, fell silent for a while and then sank to the bottom of the tank with a swoosh, not wanting to swim up. The 3rd prince's offer basically confirmed that this was part of the original plotline. Because the pampered concubine was one of the servants skilled with dancing that the 3rd prince had brought over. He had outstanding good looks and charm. When Jingwang saw the pampered concubine's performance, he fell in love at first sight. However, the pampered concubine was actually someone on the 3rd prince's side. In most of the novel, he didn't even like Jingwang. Jingwang only fell in love this once in his entire life. Yet the high and mighty tyrant was unable to obtain what he desired. He was thwarted at every step and even almost lost his life. It was really an old-style "I love you, but you don't love me. Nevertheless, I still love you" story. Supposedly, many readers loved this trope and got very into it. But why should things be like this? Why did Jingwang always have to suffer? When Liu was reading the novel, he didn't really feel this way because at that time, Jingwang was only a character in a novel. However, now Jingwang was an actual living person. He and Jingwang were very close. Liu also saw many facets of Jingwang that many people did not know about and treated Jingwang like his real master. Therefore, Liu was very angry, angrier than if he were the one suffering instead. The unhappy little carp furiously vented his anger at the pearls inside the fish tank. Ultimately, he thought dispiritedly, so what if he was angry? Jingwang was the one who will end up liking the pampered concubine, meanwhile he was only a pet fish. Who knows, perhaps one day, the pampered concubine will become his second master and he will need to curry favor with the second master just like how he curried favor with Jingwang. Moreover, he'll have to live together with the second master as well. But just thinking about this made Liu somewhat felt it was unbearable. Suddenly, he could understand the disappointment and sense of loss other pets felt when their masters started dating. The masters pamper their pets a lot before, but afterwards, they treat their pets half-heartedly. If the master's partner and the pet got along well, then there's no problem. But if the master's partner and the pet didn't get along, would the master do anything to their partner? No. The master would definitely get rid of the pet. Liu laughed coldly. He definitely wouldn't fall to that degree. If Jingwang wanted to follow the story plot, then he can follow the story plot. A fish like Liu couldn't stop the spinning wheel of the story plot anyways, but he could still do something within his abilities, right? With all the people coming in and out of the Jing estate during the banquet, and Jingwang too busy meeting with the pampered concubine to care about Liu, Liu had nothing to fear. He was going to change into a human and do everything he wanted to do. So, what if he didn't want to see the master's partner? End chapter. The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 18. Fish is going to deform. Liu decided to use the shape-shifting pill on the day of the banquet. Not long after the sharing a bed step was completed, he received a very strange reward, a lifelike fish pillow that looked just like him. Because his previous rewards were stuff like the portable storage space or all sorts of boost in his physical attributes, he was originally pretty excited to see the reward. Who would have expected that he would only get this kind of seemingly useless thing after all that effort? At that time, Liu instantly felt that the system was screwing him over again. He saved the reward and didn't retrieve it. Now that he planned to change into a human, this pillow suddenly gained significance. If he changed into a human and the fish tank became empty, the servants walking around could very easily discover that he had disappeared. He might get exposed immediately. This fish pillow was practically designed to help him make his escape. When placed in the water, it didn't move at all, but from far away, it looked pretty much like him. After finishing the sharing a bed task, the next step was getting to know the tyrant better. Liu was already used to these ambiguous task title. His expression no longer changed and his heart no longer jumped because of the misleading titles. The shitty system often pretended to be dead after announcing the mission. Liu attempted to decipher the task in all sorts of ways, but this know the tyrant better task was even more ambiguous than interacting and getting along tasks. It made this fish completely at a loss. Since he didn't make any progress yet in that front anyways, it didn't hurt to temporarily put it aside. Liu made plans seriously. He only had 2 hours to turn into a human. The banquet was held in the Ningui Hall inside the Jing estate. During that time, most of the people would gather over there. Because there will be servants and cooks from the imperial palace, plus attendants brought over by the other princes, the Jing estate will definitely be bursting with noise and excitement, and all sorts of people would be walking all over. Mixing his unfamiliar face amongst the crowd won't attract much attention. He wanted to first visit the kitchens and eat some human food. After changing into a fish, he could only eat fish food. The red fish food was made from flour, but after eating a lot of it, he really missed normal food and dishes. He really wanted to eat a good stir-fry meal and stuff himself full. The Jing estate kitchens needed to feed the guests, they definitely won't be lacking in food. Liu heard Wang Shi said before that in order to avoid guests not having enough to eat during the banquets, usually they'd prepare every dish several times. Liu decided that he would only scoop a little from every dish to have a taste, completely not worried that he might end up devouring all the delicious good. After eating, he planned to wander around the Jing estate. He never toured the Jing estate yet. He heard that the emperor even prepared opera singers. He could sneak over and watch ancient people sing opera while eating some sunflower seeds. Originally, he even wanted to leave the estate grounds, but he was afraid that exiting would be easy but returning would be hard. There were guards at the Jing estate gates. The time was too short as well. If something happened midway and he changed before reaching the bedroom again, he also have to make plan about this contingency. He could bring a teacup with him, along with enough fresh water and fish food in his portable storage space. If he changed back, he could jump into the teacup and not be afraid of anything. He thought of any other contingency that should be considered and how to resolve them. Now, everything seemed to be in place. In order to make people not discover that the fish pillow wasn't the same as the real fish, before the scheduled day of the banquet, Liu stopped swimming so frequently. Most of the time, he spent it laying on the white stone bed like a salted fish. A few times when Jingwan came to see him, Liu would swim over reflexively to nuzzle his fingers. However, as he moved closer, he'd suddenly remembered that he needed to maintain his distance, and thus, he'd changed his action to waving his tail and then swimming away loftily. Jingwan. On the day of the banquet, Wang Shi accompanied Jingwang to Ningui Hall bright and early in the morning. Although the emperor prepared everything already, as the host, Jingwang still couldn't avoid dealing with the guests. By his side, Wang Shi also helped him. According to Jingwang's wishes, several inner servants were placed around the bedroom where Li Yu stayed. They didn't need to stand guard constantly, but this way, they wouldn't accidentally scare the little carp should guests came out strolling about. However, the inner servants needed to occasionally come in to give the fish a glance. This assignment from Jingwang was really troublesome. As soon as Jingwang left, Li Yu immediately retrieved the fish pillow reward. He pushed the fish pillow onto the white stone bed and placed it like a salted fish. Thinking and still concerned, he covered the pillow with the water grass blanket. Now when seen from afar, it really looked like he was only sleeping. Arranging the pillow in order, Li Yu jumped into the teacup closest to the crystal fish tank and then obtained the shape-shifting pill at this time. Taking a deep breath, he confirmed his selection with the system for the last time. The bottle of the shape-shifting pill fell into his arms in a blink of an eye. Originally, he was a bit worried about opening the pill bottle as a fish. However, this bottle almost seemed sentient, like it knew it was about to be used. Even the seal on the bottle disappeared. Could this be another trap? With this shape-shifting pill in hand, Li Yu hesitated for a moment. However, he heard a faint sound of music coming from a distance. He knew that the song and dance entertainment that was especially prepared for this banquet had already begun. The pampered concubine was probably about to appear, or must have appeared already. The fateful meeting should have started, right? Anyways, he would be transforming in 2 hours only. He was just going to eat some food next door. It's no big deal. Li Yu no longer hesitated. In an inexplicable mood, he swallowed the pill all at once. This pill didn't have any taste. After drinking, he can still smack his lips without a care. Yet, unexpectedly, the next moment, his vision became fuzzy. Crap. He didn't expect the shape-shifting pill would have an adverse effect. The little carp gradually lost consciousness. Ningui Hall. The third prince, Mu Tianming, got up several times to toast a drink to Jingwang. Mu Tianming was not the same as Mu Tianzhao. His birth mother was of lower status compared to imperial consort Xu. He was also a bit younger than Mu Tianzhao. He was being suppressed by Mu Tianzhao in every aspect. Ever since he decided to compete for the throne with the second prince, Mu Tianming did everything the opposite way from Mu Tianzhao. Jingwang had a disability and couldn't inherit the throne. In Mu Tianming's eyes, he wasn't a threat at all. Since Mu Tianzhao didn't like Jingwang, of course Mu Tianming had to express his goodwill towards Jingwang. If Mu Tianzhao wanted to win over Jingwang, then Mu Tianming definitely needed to prevent that from happening. As long as he could make the second prince unhappy, he would be glad. Not to mention that although Jingwang wasn't a threat and the emperor never gave Jingwang any real power, Jingwang still had Empress Xiao Hui's family, the Chang'an Palace, backing him. If Mu Tianming could gain connections with Chang'an Palace through Jingwang, that would be an extremely beneficial thing. Mu Tianming had sent plenty of gifts to Jingwang before, but they were all rejected by Jingwang. He was just fretting about not having an excuse to get close to him. Fortunately, Mu Tianzhao's mother, imperial concubine Xu, did something foolish. He immediately planned to seize this opportunity. However, Jingwang didn't like anything, so it was very hard to please him. The generous gifts he sent before were not good enough. Mu Tianming and his trusted aides thought of plenty of ideas, but Jingwang didn't need anything from them. The only thing of note was that his harem was empty. Mu Tianming wanted to try his best to send some bed partners to Jingwang. On one hand, it could please Jingwang, on the other hand, there'd be someone next to Jingwang who could help put in a good word for Mu Tianming. This one action will serve multiple purpose. He brought over a few entertainers into the Jing estate, all exceptionally beautiful. In the dance group, the lead dancer was a man with an exceptionally refined appearance. With a bit of makeup, he was actually several times more attractive than the women in the same group. Mu Tianming didn't know Jing Wang's taste, so he purposely prepared attractive men and women. What if with the dance performance, one could catch Jing Wang's eyes? After the start of the banquet, Mu Tianming proposed a toast, but Jing Wang didn't like to drink liquor, so he declined. Mu Tianming then suggested calling forth the entertainers and dancers. Jing Wang didn't like watching dance, so he didn't respond. For a moment, Mu Tianming felt somewhat awkward. The sixth prince, Mu Tianxiao, was a supporter of the third prince. He hastily helped Mu Tianming smooth things over and looked over towards the seventh prince and eighth prince, who finally got out of the palace to play. Upon learning that there were interesting dances to see, the young seventh prince and eighth prince, both became extremely excited. Although Jing Wang didn't have much relations with the older princes, he wouldn't bicker with the younger princes. Moreover, Wang Shi also put in a few words of persuasion, so Jing Wang permitted the dance entertainment to commence. Mu Tianming was finally able to present the long-awaited dance group on stage. The third prince went through great pains to prepare this. He knew ahead of time that Jing Wang started raising a fish recently. So, he specifically prepared a fish lotus dance. The entertainers were mostly wearing green, dressed up as the leaves of the lotus. The lead dancer was in white and would transform into an elegant and refined lotus flower. The third prince felt that this was a rather novel idea. Jing Wang reluctantly watched it. The third prince said it was a fish lotus dance, but Jing Wang didn't see any fish from start to finish. Not to mention, there was a white-clothed dancer who had an outstanding appearance, but his eyes carried anxiety and resentment, like they were filled with water. Contrarily, Jing Wang felt somewhat angry instead of entertained. Was performing a dance for him some enormous injustice to this person or something? When Mu Tianzhao saw Jing Wang staring at the person leading the dance, he felt his heart jump. Terrified that Mu Tianming was about to win over Jing Wang first, the second prince also got up and said as sincerely as he could, "Fifth little brother, my mother offended you greatly a few days ago. As your elder brother, I apologize for her mistake and hope fifth little brother will be magnanimous enough to forgive her." As soon as the second prince started talking, his servants took the chance to squeeze the third prince's dance group to the side. The third prince was furious but didn't dare to speak. The third prince didn't dare to start an argument with the second prince in front of everyone in public, and could only swallow his anger as he waited and see what would happen next. Since Mu Tianzhao mentioned imperial consort Xu, Jing Wang sneered. Wang Shi immediately said on behalf of Jing Wang, "As long as the imperial consort reflects on her actions in accordance to the emperor's instructions, His Highness naturally wouldn't go against the emperor's words and would not pursue this matter further." Mu Tianzhao originally planned to beg for Jing Wang's forgiveness, then plead leniency for imperial consort Xu along the way to shorten the imperial consort's confinement. Yet why did he feel like Jing Wang had already completely blocked off all the words he planned to say? Since his first request was not successful, Mu Tianzhao continued to be thick-skinned and said, "This elder brother has another request. My mother has a night luminescent pearl that she accidentally dropped that night. I heard one of fifth brother's servants picked it up. Many thanks for keeping it safe for these days. If it's convenient for fifth brother, I'd appreciate if it could be returned." In reality, although the night luminescent pearl that imperial consort Xu lost was precious, how she lost it was rather humiliating. Imperial consort Xu herself didn't want to see this pearl ever again. Mu Tianzhao was only forcibly using this as an excuse. If Jing Wang returned the night luminescent pearl, it would give the appearance that their relationship was not bad. An illusion of camaraderie that he could happily show to the emperor. The second prince was asking for the night luminescent pearl. Jing Wang gave Wang Shi a glance. At the same time, the two people both thought about the pearl that was buried in the corner of who knew where inside the fish tank. Jing Wang himself didn't particularly like this pearl from imperial consort Xu. Later, when he gave the little carp plenty of other gemstones, he noticed that the little carp hadn't played with that particular pearl in a long while. He originally planned to get rid of it, but since the second prince was asking for it, might as well return it to him. Jingwang gave Wang Shi a nod. Mu Tianzhao was secretly delighted. As long as Jingwang offered up this night luminescent pearl, then everything was settled. Yet unexpectedly, Wang Gonggong said, "Second prince, may your honorable self please come with this old servant to retrieve the pearl." Mu Tianzhao? Since the second prince had made this request, which Jingwang was granting so in front of other princes who were watching the exchange, the second prince couldn't cower and could only follow Wang Shi on the winded path to the back of the hall. The second prince felt somewhat nervous, terrified that Jingwang's subordinates were going to secretly take him out. Fortunately, he was quite safe along the way. Wang Shi led Mu Tianzhao into a room and pointed at a rather large crystal tank and said with a smile, "There was an accident with the night luminescent pearl. It sank over there. Since your honorable self knew this item well, may your honorable self please get it." Mu Tianzhao? Wang Shi was obviously purposely making things difficult. The second prince was startled. What was Jingwang trying to do? Why would the night luminescent pearl fall into a fish tank? It was such a huge fish tank that it was hard to see the whole of it in one view. Moreover, the fish tank was full of precious gems. How was he supposed to find that pearl? Mu Tianzhao braced himself and looked. He wanted to find it first and then summon someone to pull it out for him. Suddenly, he discovered a fish laying on a white stone rock inside the fish tank. There was even water grass placed on top of the fish's body. It was a strange sight. This fish seemed to be the same one that Jingwang brought over before. It was Jingwang's pet fish. Mu Tianzhao and Imperial Consort Qiu both suffered because of this fish. The second prince immediately became vigilant and wanted to stay further away from this unlucky fish. Yet unexpectedly, he noticed with his keen eyes that this fish was lying very weirdly. It was completely stiff all over and not making any slight movement at all. Jingwang's fish seemed to have died again. The second prince. End chapter.